Hello and welcome to the show. Now, we could talk the hind legs off a donkey with all the property stories we've heard.
Yeah, and buying at auction is a really exciting experience. And if you get yourself a bargain, you'll be happier than a pig in mud.
Yes, don't horse around and make sure you do your homework if you're looking to buy your next home under the hammer.
Well, no matter how big or small the project, there is always an element of risk.
Yes, all sorts of problems can arise, and while you're doing a property, please don't count your chickens too soon.
Now, who was willing to break a few eggs for their omelette? Let's find out what they bought.
I want to raise the roof in Sheffield. My mate, Peter Crouch, who's 6'7", won't be buying this. And what's Martin off to see in Ashford?
Well, this fact that I'm walking not down a pavement but down the side of the road maybe is a bit of a clue.
And in Birmingham, I visit a property with a guide price that's beyond belief. Terrace house, 3 beds, had a guide price of, wait for it, all these properties have been sold at auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid when they went under the hammer.
You bought it? Well done, thank you.
This is Chapeltown, a large village in the suburb of Sheffield, South Yorkshire. It's a desirable place to live, and the property market here suits all budgets. So which price bracket will today's property fit into? Let's find out. The property I'm here to see today is a good old-fashioned homes under the hammer favourite. Yes, it's the 2 up, 2 down. It's an end terrace, and it had a guide price of £68,000 when it went to auction. What I will say is that that front door looks pretty solid. Will the house be? OK. Not quite as smart as the front door in here, but I'm straight into that first reception room, which I was expecting as well. There's been a few bits that have been left in here. It's an OK size front room. I can see a bit of detail on the coving, and there's a ceiling rose as well. As I come past the stairs, go into the bedrooms, I'm into the second reception room, and now I can see what's going on with this house. It actually feels colder in here than it does outside. There's some stairs going to a cellar. It's just very damp. It feels like a damp house. There's lots of mould in the corners. Kitchen is here. Same in there as well. The whole of the kitchen needs to come out and a brand new kitchen put in there. It's definitely a take everything off the walls and start all over again. But it's what I expected in the 2 up, 2 down. Let's have a look upstairs. Oh, by the way, my mate, Peter Crouch, who's 6'7", won't be buying this. OK, so not the best start to this property. The house has damp everywhere. Will it be the same story upstairs? Right, 2 bedrooms. Upstairs, this is your front bedroom. It's an OK size. I can see more signs of damp and a few cracks as well. Bit of storage in here. No. That's the toilet, isn't it, in the closet? OK. That's pretty odd, actually. That is pretty odd. The bedroom's OK. I don't think the toilet's working. Yeah, it's a toilet. So across the landing, into bedroom number 2, which is at the back of the property. It's a good-sized bedroom. You can see here we've got a bit of a problem with the flooring. Family bathroom is right here as well. The water's getting in somewhere. That needs to be solved ASAP before you do anything else. But you will need a brand new bathroom in there. If you are staying or sleeping in this bedroom, then you'll find the bathroom's there. At the moment, if you're sleeping in the front bedroom, you're fine as well because you've got that toilet in the closet. For me, I'd want to take it out. I don't think it works. But then you're left with kind of a scenario something like this at 3 a.m. in the morning. Can you imagine? You need to go to the toilet. This is what's going to happen. That's it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have to tiptoe through. Don't wake up your sister or your brother and make your way to the toilet. And then you're going to flush it, then you're going to wake them up, then you're going to have an argument in the morning. It ain't going to work. Indeed it isn't. It would appear upstairs needs just as much work as downstairs, if not more.
Hard work. Ain't that a truth?
Right, so there is a little bit of back garden. The garden itself, it's actually quite long. You've got this massive bush here. In fact, I think there's a brick sort of outhouse or some kind of brick building in the centre of this bush. This whole bush is hiding something. What it is, I don't know. There are a few hurdles to overcome here. The strange layout, damp and mould issues. The render is flaking off the back of the house. And most surprisingly of all, a mystery building covered by a huge bush in the back garden.
Surprise, surprise.
To find out more, we've asked along a local agent to get her thoughts on the property.
So the property is in need of renovation, but it's got a great sized garden. It's on a great street, which is really popular. I would say it's definitely worth getting the damp checked, just because you're better to be safe than sorry. There is a lot of plaster that maybe is coming off the walls, which does suggest that there's damp. So I would maybe get a specialist to pop in and check that out.
So once the property has been renovated to a good standard, what could the potential returns be?
I would say in a good sales market, I would value the property at £125,000. And in a good rental market, I would say about £600 per calendar month.
It's a bit wet, damp and mouldy. It's actually feeling a little bit sorry for itself. I think this house needs a bit of a hug, a nice big cuddle to bring it back to its former glory. It also needs a bit of time and money spending on it. I think in there, everything needs to be new, and maybe a few layout changes as well. Let's find out what happened when it went under the hammer. This lot was part of a remote auction, with bids taking place online only.
Sold.
The successful bid of £85,000 was made by Dave from Sheffield, who has been a full-time property developer for a few years now. He hopes this one will be another great purchase. Dave, nice to meet you.
And you, Dion?
You have got a project on your hands, haven't you?
Yes, definitely, mate. A full rip-out, full renovation, top to bottom.
Did you know it was? Did you view this property?
I did view it, yes.
And what were your initial thoughts? Did you know it was going to be as bad as it is?
To be honest, I wasn't that keen on the property. I walked in, I had a look round, and I was like, no. But I had my heart set on another property that I lost out on, and then this was the one that I went for, and I actually got. Obviously, there was a good guide price, but it was top end in the end.
This was your second choice. What made you stick with it then and go for it?
I live 100 yards away, which was a massive bonus for me.
What made you want a project so much?
Well, literally, I've got a small portfolio of houses, and then what I do now is I try and flip one a year. So, yeah, I just phoned up, had a viewing, and then went for it.
What's the first thing you're going to have to do?
Well, it's a full renovation, so get it back to, everything out, back to brick maybe, and then literally it's going to start with, a rewire, then replaster, then we've got bathrooms, kitchen, and yeah, everything basically.
It's quite a long list, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So we've got a little serious work that needs to be done, the render needs to be done, the pointing needs to be done, stop that water getting in. And then upstairs as well, what's happening with the toilet in the front bed?
It's coming out, Obviously, it's not an ideal layout, is it? So my idea is that we're going to have a downstairs toilet in the utility, maybe a shower as well. And obviously, when you've got visitors, you don't want to be going through somebody's bedroom. Dear.
Tiptoe now, trying to get through.
So, yeah, that's the plan.
Dave is going to change the current kitchen into a utility room with a toilet or possibly a shower room. He'll then make the second reception room into an open kitchen dining space. He has a budget of £15,000 and hopes to get the work done in 6 months. Dave plans to do a lot of the work himself, but he also has plenty of friends willing to help him out. Just so happens that they're tradesmen. He's hoping everything will run smoothly so he can get this on the sales market as soon as possible. OK, so we have gone through a lot of stuff that needs to be done. You are basically starting from scratch with this place.
Yep.
You're making sure it's done properly. You're stripping it back to bare brick. What's going on outside in the back garden? You've got that big bush and then you've got that building inside there.
Well, I thought it was a big bush until I started, like, peeking inside and I'm like, oh, it's not just a bush. So the plan of just chopping it down, returfing it all, a bit of grass seeds, gone out the window, unfortunately, so...
Have you had a chance to get in there and
No,
find out what it is?
I had a look, I saw, and I'll come back to that. Because the plan is to do the house first.
Yes.
And then look at what finances I've got left, and then we'll look at the rendering and the garden and see what we can do with what we've got left out of budget.
So, what about this archway then? Because I'm 6'2", and I'm only just squeezing through. And I did mention that I don't think Peter Crouch would fit in this house.
Definitely not. No, I didn't even notice it was that small until you. I fit in for easy. Is it a stud wall, Dion? Yeah, we can take that out then.
Come on then. Crouch, you might buy it in the end.
Yeah, that'll come out then. We'll just open it up and replaster.
There you go.
Through.
Thank you very much. Dave, listen, you've got loads to do, loads to be getting on with. Good luck.
Thanks, Dion.
I really wish you all the best, and I hope that 15 grand budget gets you over the line.
So do I.
Take care.
Fingers crossed.
Dave has got a long list of jobs that need to be done, but I'm not worried because he's got a long list of pals that are going to be helping him out. I would normally say 15 grand might not do it, but he's doing a lot of the work himself, so that should save him a few quid. And that 6-month timescale means that he's got plenty of time to do what he needs to do. The big question for me on this particular project is, what's below the bush? You can find out exactly what is below the bush later in the programme. The town of Ashford in Kent sits on the southern edge of the North Downs, and with both the M20 motorway and the Euro trains running through it, it's certainly well connected.
So I'm in Kingsworth, just outside Ashford, here to see, well, this fact that I'm walking not down a pavement but down the side of the road maybe is a bit of a clue. I'm actually here to see a plot of land. It's just here, guide price £80,000 to £85,000. Let's explore. Clearly £80,000 to £85,000 is a lot of money for just a plot of land, so there's more to it than meets the eye, and that is that it comes with planning permission for the construction of a 3-bedroom property and a garage. Well, the plot itself is here. It is quite big, actually. It's about 1/4 acre. Down that end is where the garage is going to be situated, and then it's kind of like a wedge shape as it broadens out as you go that way, and the house situated roughly where I'm standing here. 3 bedrooms, dormer upstairs, quite a sort of log cabin-y feel to it, which is quite nice. You could, of course, go back to planning and change it if you liked. But it seems to work, and the fact it's in place means you can get on with building, which is exactly what you'd want to do.
I live in the shade of a forest of green.
On a sunny day like this, it's lovely to stroll around this plot. But pretty soon, all this undergrowth will be cleared in preparation for development. And it's not quite as simple as just bringing in a digger to flatten down what Mother Nature has lovingly created.
Well, the fact that it's a previously untouched plot of land does bring with it a few issues. Good news is it's flat. Bad news is it won't have any services like gas, electricity, water, sewerage, etc. But you've got some houses very close by, so hopefully it wouldn't be too much of an issue to actually have those things laid on. It will cost money, though, so that needs to be factored into your budget. The other thing is we've got quite a lot of trees on the site, and a bit of investigation has shown that some of them have got tree preservation orders, so you wouldn't be able to necessarily chop them down as you might want to. Could throw up an issue when it comes to construction. Again, this needs to be looked into, needs to be factored into your budget, and as long as you know about it, then it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, she's right, you know. Ignore a tree preservation order at your peril. Fines for damaging or felling a TPO tree start at a couple of £1,000s, but the top end is unlimited. Having mature trees on this plot is part of the appeal, and being a certified tree hugger myself, I'd always be reluctant to chop any of the bigger trees down, although wouldn't be sorry to lose the brambles and nettles.
So the plot of land we like, what we don't like is this road. There's a bend that way, there's a bend that way, and cars seem to just accelerate and decelerate down this straight. That creates a lot of noise. Now, there are things you can do. You could put in an acoustic fence, which would certainly help. You could potentially double or triple glaze the property. But even so, it could be something which would put a potential buyer off. And bearing in mind, if we're not building this to live in ourselves, it's a house that we're going to try and sell on. So any negatives could be an issue.
House prices in Kent are well above the UK average. So how much could a 3-bed property sell for? To answer this, we've invited a local agent along. But first, what does he particularly like about the proposed plans?
I like the fact that they've made it very open plan. That's what people want nowadays from a family home. I like the fact that the bedrooms are good sizes and there's an ensuite to the master bedroom. The garage is quite separate from the house, which is quite nice, and the cars are away from the property. And there's lots of frontage, lots of place to park for guests and family. It's good.
And so to those all-important valuations.
The resale value for this property would be in the region of £375,000 to £400,000, and the rental value would be approximately £1,100 per calendar month.
Well, it's a good-sized plot of land and an interesting design, but really this road for me is one of the things which would make me think twice about buying it. Although, that said, beep beep, there are a real lack of plots like this in this area. So, who knows? I think whatever happens, it will be a popular lot when it goes under the hammer.
It's a freehold site with planning for a chalet bungalow and detached garage with a new access. Come in at 80,000 pounds I've got. 82 now do I see. 82 on my right, 85.
The bidding got off to a modest start, but this was a sought-after parcel of land. We rejoined with the bid standing at £160,000.
160 I have, 162 I'm looking for. We all done 160,000 pounds, 162, 165, 165. Just, if you think this is tough, wait till you start building it. 165, 168. 168, 168. At 165, then, second row back, I will sell for the first time. You're out of it in the middle. 165 for the second time. Third and final time at 165 are we all done. I'm not going to dwell. Yours, madam, well done.
Paying almost double the guide price with the final bid of £165,000 was Nadine. This is her first auction purchase, and Martin was eager to find out why she wanted this plot so much.
Nadine, great to meet you.
You too.
Congratulations, you got yourself a plot of land.
Yeah.
Tell me why you wanted to buy it.
So I wanted to buy it because it's just around the corner from home for a start, so we live about a minute that way. It's my first project, and I thought convenience would be a good thing. Didn't want to go driving miles away after work, so I thought, yeah, this would be a perfect plot.
Brilliant. So we say first project, what do you mean by first project?
I've wanted to do property development for a long time. I've got my own businesses in software.
Oh, wow.
I figured it was probably pretty much the same thing. Managing teams, getting projects done. So it's, I call it my first project. It's my first building project.
Right. And you've gone really at the deep end because it's a new build.
Yes, yeah. I thought it's probably easier to start with a blank sheet rather than go for something that I don't know what's there already, you know, for a property or something with, I don't know, it might have damp, it might have all sorts of things wrong with it. So I thought start from scratch, then I know what there is to deal with.
Well, I like your
to a certain extent.
I like your logic. It's not one that many people follow, but I do like it. It makes sense. So the fact that the proximity was one of the big things for you, obviously.
Yeah.
And also quite a large plot.
Yeah, it's about 1/4 of an acre, so it's a good-sized plot. It's quite a large property as well. I thought it was about 1,200 square feet. I got my scale wrong. schoolboy error. It's actually 2,500 square feet.
Oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Affects my budget slightly, but it's hopefully going to sell for a lot more.
Great. The idea of getting involved in the building, is that something that appeals, or is this you going to get somebody in and say, do that, or are you actually going to be hands-on?
Yeah, I'm going to hands-on kind of project manage to a certain extent as well.
Great.
So I've got a builder that's done some work for us before. I'm going to kind of shadow him and learn on this project, hopefully project manage other builds in future myself.
Are you doing this on your own? You keep talking about us. Is it a joint project? Or is it...
Myself and my partner.
Okay.
We've actually launched a business already, even though this is our first build, hoping that it's going to be good.
Oh, well, you know.
And it's going to work, so...
Like a limited company type?
Yeah, limited company, so this is my third business.
OK. So it's obviously got planning permission.
Yes.
Are you happy with the designs and all that kind of stuff?
I've actually modified them slightly. So we've put in some larger doors at the back. We've added a room. So originally it had sort of 3-4 bedrooms, the fourth being a study come bedroom. But I've actually added a smaller study on the plans and made that a fourth bedroom.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's now going to be a four bed, 3 bath.
And did that require you going back to the planning people?
We're going back to them at the moment, yeah.
So that's going to throw in some delays, but you're happy that it's worth it?
Yes, definitely. I think it will add quite a bit of value.
OK.
Since this is Nadine's first building project, and because it's on such a large scale, she's still crunching some numbers to figure out what she can spend. But she has set aside a rough timescale of 5 to 6 months, and Nadine plans to sell the property on once it's complete.
And the price you might achieve?
Well, the estimates have ranged from £550,000 to £650,000.
All right.
We're hoping for at least 550.
Is this a good, profitable business, then, you think, you're getting into?
Yeah, I think so. And also it's about being home a bit more. I don't want to be commuting into London all the time again. And I can run my businesses from here anyway, the other ones.
Now, we've obviously got this busy road right behind us, but that's obviously not too much of an issue as far as you're concerned.
It was a slight issue. I did think that it would probably put some people off, but we're going to have quite a high fence there, which will kind of reduce the noise slightly. The house is going to be triple glazed, so you're not going to hear anything inside. It's just actually approaching the property that could be a bit of an issue with some people.
And then these trees along the edge here, which I understand have got preservation orders.
There's about 14, 15 trees, I think, and we've got a preservation order on about 8 of them. So some of them can come down, some of them just need to be pruned.
Right. That's a bit annoying, really.
Yeah, it is. It makes it quite dark as well, so as long as we can trim back enough, then it should get a nice bit of light in here.
And if this goes successful, is this going to be something you do more and more?
My goal is to do 3 or 4 a year.
Oh, great.
So as long as I've got the right team, I think it's going to be possible.
Yeah. Well, listen, congratulations. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing how you get on.
Thank you.
So, Nadine, in at the deep end and in at the start of what could be a pretty profitable adventure. However, I am still concerned about the noise from that road and the trees and all the things that can happen with a new build. How will she get on? You can find out later in the show.
Coming up, things are looking wet, wet, wet in Birmingham. As I was coming up the stairs, I could smell the damp and the water, and this is it. This is where it's come in. And brace yourself for Nadine's big reveal in Ashford.
Whenever anyone walks in, they always kind of say, oh, wow, you know, that's a really grand entrance.
Back to Chapeltown now in South Yorkshire and the 2 up, 2 down end terrace, where any potential buyer, because of the position of the bathroom off one of the bedrooms, would have to. That's it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have to tiptoe through. Don't wake up your sister or your brother and make your way to the toilet. And then you're going to flush it, then you're going to wake them up, then you're going to have an argument in the morning. It ain't going to work. And though the other bedroom had tried to avert this problem by sticking a toilet in a cupboard, it was far from ideal and really needed a rethink. With damp issues also to sort out, a full refurb was on the cards. Inside the house and outside, the render was flaking off, and the garden was full of secrets. This whole bush is hiding something. What it is, I don't know.
If I could find a way of finding out your mystery, then I'll know what you mean to me.
But for full-time property developer Dave, he'd seen enough to make up his mind on this one.
To be honest, I wasn't that keen on the property. I walked in, I had a look round, and I was like, no. But I had my heart set on another property that I lost out on, and then this was the one that I went for and I actually got.
What made you stick with it then and go for it? What was it that got you over the edge?
I needed a project, and I live 100 yards away, which was a massive bonus for me.
And that alone sounded like a good reason to compromise.
I won't settle for a second.
And Dave's second best auction lot was bought for £85,000. And by rolling up his sleeves and doing a lot of the work himself, he had a budget of 15 grand and a timescale of 6 months. And now, 7 months on, has his second best property become the talk of the town? Well, he might have originally wanted something else, but he certainly transformed the house into something else by creating a kitchen diner, freeing up the old kitchen space so he could put in a top-notch shower room. And it doesn't end there.
Never stop, no, not until it comes to life. It comes to life.
With a fantastic bathroom off the back bedroom, making it an effective ensuite. And the front bedroom no longer has a toilet in the cupboard. Hooray for that. So Dave really has made the most of the space inside, but outside, it was a case of piecing it back together.
The rendering, well, it was just basically, obviously, you have to chip all the old render off before you can render the new. So me and a friend spent literally a week, just chipping away, literally. And then, obviously, a friend of mine, Russ, he came back and put it all back together. And obviously, it looks amazing. Thanks, Russ.
And while Russ's new render solved some of the damp issues, the other soggy issue turned out to be a leaky sewage pipe in the cellar, which Dave got Yorkshire Water to fix. So the house is now not only dry, but smells so much sweeter. What about the garden? What about that mystery building?
I've been lost, I've been found. I've been lost, I've been found.
Well, obviously, we weren't sure what was behind the massive bush when we got there. Eventually, once we got that off, we found, I think it's an air raid shelter or some kind of bomb shelter or something for during war. So, yeah, we've raised the garden level up as well, because obviously it was a lot lower, so we could get a flat patio. And then, obviously, towards the back as well, there's a little area where you can do what you want with, really.
So he's managed to win most of the battles here, and for once, he wasn't alone on his campaign.
I hate working on my own, to be honest. I've got a friend of mine who's been coming and helping me a lot. Working on your own, you don't get a lot done. You get disheartened. You need somebody there to, push each other along and get stuck in it and get on with it. So, yeah, I mean, there has been times when I've been here on my own, but generally, I've had somebody with me helping me along and things. So, yeah, it's been good.
He also had trades in to do the gas and the electrics, and a friend showed him how to fit the kitchen. But a bit of motivation never goes amiss when you're working solidly on a project for 7 months. And though living around the corner may have meant his travel costs were kept to a minimum, this has been a comprehensive refurb. So did he stick to his budget?
I've gone over budget. I think I did say 15, but we're at 20,000. But that is with all the rendering. Obviously, we've had to raise the garden up a little bit to make it all level and flat. So there's a little bit more being spent on the outside than I imagined. But yeah, I think it's well worth it in the end, and what it's created is really good.
It is really good, but a £20,000 spend on top of that £85,000 purchase price does take his total outlay to £105,000. So, money well spent? What does the agent that saw it last time think?
Well, it feels like a completely different property. I like the layout changes with another bathroom added really helps, I think, the saleability. The property's obviously been rendered and a lot of care's been taken there, so I think it's done a really good job. I think he's gone for a good finish. I don't think he's kind of gone to the extreme where he's spent a huge amount, which I don't think is very good for an investment, but it looks stunning. I really like the way he's done it.
Dave wants to flip the house, selling it on ASAP, but what kind of returns might he see on his £105,000 investment?
In the current market, I think the property could achieve between £135,000 and £145,000.
That's great news, great figures. I think originally it was, they said 125 to 130, so yeah, that's more than I expected, yeah, that's great.
Yes, if he gets those resale values, that could see a pre-tax profit of between £30,000 and £40,000. And rental-wise, he could achieve £625 per month, a yield of 7%. So it might not have been his first choice, but it's turned out to be a good choice.
I absolutely love doing things like this, so I did think living across road would be a benefit, but sometimes when I've been opening my curtains and the house is still there every day, I've been kind of, oh, I wish it were a little bit further away so it weren't actually in view.
OK, so maybe for Dave this was perhaps a bit too close to home, but it did mean...
You were always there for me, and I'll always be there for you.
Today we are in Birmingham, home to world-class museums and galleries. The city has rich culture and heritage. And Aston Villa, by the way. Let's see what impact today's property will have. So we are in a desirable area. Yes, we are on quite a busy main road, but we've got the park across the road and all the shops and amenities are within walking distance. So I would class this area as thriving and up and coming. Here we are, terrace house, 3 beds, had a guide price of, wait for it, 25 grand when it went to auction. 25 grand. Right, just for the record, this house will not sell for 25 grand. It's a very good and inviting starting point, but it won't sell for 25 grand. Trust me. OK, this is a very typical terrace house layout. Small reception room right at the front, gas fire, can't see any radiators as yet, and it does need decorating throughout from what I can see. Second reception room, again, you've got some laminate floors on concrete, I think. Get this up, put some new flooring down. The walls need to be skimmed. It all needs to be decorated again. And into the kitchen, I can't see any boiler, which tells me there's no central heating in this house. It does feel quite dark and suppressing because there's wood panelling on the ceiling. The wallpaper's a little bit dark. The units are a little bit dark. Good-sized kitchen, galley kitchen, but it's just a little bit, needs to be brightened up somewhat. There's your door to the back garden yard area, and then you come into this kind of shower room, wood panelling everywhere in here. The whole of this area just needs a little bit more TLC. Freshen it up somewhat. And whilst you are freshening up, you might want to ensure the extension is structurally sound. There is a good-sized back garden, and although currently overgrown, it's nothing a good clear-out won't sort. A handy path to the side gives you access to the front of the property, so you're not going through the house with all the trimmings. OK, upstairs we've got the 2 bedrooms and we've got more stairs, which I will get to in a minute. OK, this bedroom to the back of the property. As soon as you come in, you can see the header tank and the water tank. They both have seen better days. They need removing, replacing and relocating. This window frame here is rotting as well. That needs to go. It's single glazed, so replace that window and most of the windows in this house. 2, I can see there's a bit of smoke damage as well to the framing, but that's all coming out anyway, so that doesn't make any difference. This is the back bedroom, the front bedroom. is the same size as the back bedroom. I can see, unfortunately, some serious water damage above me and to the side of me as well. The frame of this window is the same as the one at the back. It's rotting, it's single glazed, it needs to come out, but that is not good. So I'm going to use that second set of stairs to try and find out where this water damage has come from.
It's going up, up, up. It's going up.
Right, these stairs are taking me to the top of the house. There's also a bit of space on that side of the staircase. Could you replicate this next door? Might need a bit of planning, but extra space is always good. As I was coming up the stairs, I could smell the damp and the water, and this is it. This is where it's come in. This dormer hasn't been built brilliantly, let me say. It's seeped in. There would have been some boards here at some stage, but it's just not great at all. The floorboards are just starting to rot. It's just all dark and it's water stained everywhere. You know what they've done? They have built, now follow me here. Normally, you'd build it like that so the water falls away. On this occasion, they built it like that so the water stayed here, stored and seeped into the house. Level up, please. Thank you very much. Get this built properly. It's not very good. We've invited along a level-headed property expert to give his opinion on the property and who it might appeal to.
Well, this particular property is directly opposite Kings Heath Park, which is obviously going to be popular with buyers. You've got Kings Heath Centre up the road, as well as a number of bars, restaurants and local shops. So, yeah, proves very popular with buyers.
It sounds like it's in a great area then, but how would it fare on the rental market once renovated?
So as a three-bedroom house, refurbished, you'd be looking at around £900 per calendar month. And if you were able to add a fourth bedroom, you're probably looking at around £1,000 per calendar month.
And what could this property sell for?
Depending on the level of refurbishment you carry out, you're really looking at somewhere in the order of £350,000 to £400,000.
This is a top-to-bottomer and an inside-outer. Let me explain. It needs attention from top to bottom. Everything inside, at present, needs to come out. And then you can start the process of putting all the good stuff back in, but that might cost you a few quid. So the budget is important. If you've got it, you've got yourself a good project. Let's find out who wanted to take it on when it went under the hammer. This lot was sold at a remote property auction with online bids only.
And gone, online.
And the successful bid, wait for it, was £242,000. Yes, you heard me right, almost 10 times over the guide price. And that was made by Rob. I told you this would sell for a lot more. Let's find out why Rob wanted it so much. Rob, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Dion.
Oh, before we start, are you blue or Villa?
Oh, I'm a villain all the way through.
Get in there, you
all
see.
the way through. No problem at all, mate.
Really, Villa for all your life, or?
Ancestry.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Dad and...
Family goes back to born in Aston in the 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Proper claret and blue.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, I think.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you. Now we're mates, I like that. Tell me about this venture. What made you want this house?
I wanted this house because of its location. Always been a great area in Birmingham anyway, hasn't it? So, and it seems to be getting just better and better all the time.
Yeah.
So we had a long list at the auction. This was actually the first lot that came up. Before I know it, we'd got it. You know, it was a bit nervous at the time, but we did get it.
Was it a battle to get it?
Afraid so, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. I don't know who it was, but yeah, it was a bit of a battle to try and get it. So, as ever, I paid more than I wanted to.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
Did you go to the auction house with a figure in mind, then go over that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not too much. Well, I say too much. About 20k over what I would have been happy with.
Okay, but are you happy with what you paid for this?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fair enough
Yes.
then. Okay.
Yeah, now that I've had the chance to have a really, really good look at it, you know, because on the viewing days, you can only take so much in. So now I've had a really good look at it. I'm happy with it.
What have you got in your head that you want to do with this place?
Keep it quite similar to how it is. I mean, it needs a lot of TLC. There's already an attic loft conversion on the front of the building, so we're going to sort of refurbish that. You mentioned the water leak. Yeah, that's quite bad, you know, I think, so I've got to deal with that fairly quickly. We will rebuild the dormer.
Okay.
Bring it up, you know, I mean, it needs... Well, I didn't even see any insulation when I was looking at it, so it's got to bring it up, plenty of insulation. It'll be really, really nice and cosy up there.
Will you do me a favour, Rob? Sorry to bring. Will you do me a favour?
Yeah.
Will you try and make it fall away from the house? I want the water away from the house, please.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so you rebuild the top of the house, make sure that's all how it should be.
Yes.
And then from the top downwards, will that be a bedroom?
That'll be the master bedroom.
Okay.
We'll put a dormer on the back as well. Should be okay with that. Permitted developments.
Same kind of size?
Same kind of size. That'll be a very large family bathroom because we're moving the bathroom from the ground floor. So, and then there'll be the 2 bedrooms on the first floor. They'll get a nice refurbishment. And then on the ground floor here, we're actually going to knock down the single-storey extension at the back, which is already quite large, and widen it out so that it comes behind and the full width of this area here. So it'll be a nice walk through, and move the bathroom so that then you'll see that nice, lovely garden when you look out the windows at the bottom of the garden.
Wow. Rob's plan is to do a high-spec finish, and he will put French doors in on the back of that extension. He plans to sell it once it's all finished, so whoever buys it will have a great view of the back garden. Who's going to do the work for you, Rob? Do you do it yourself, or you got a team of builders?
No, I've got a team of tradesmen. So I've done a couple now, and the idea is that I'll speak to all the individual tradesmen and get them to put their input in at the various stages throughout it. I'll keep a core guide team, 1 or 2 guys to help me out here most of the time, and then call on the traders, plasterers, roofers as we go along.
So what kind of cost is that going to, you know...
Comes at a price, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does, yeah, because, you know, you've got an extension there already. Yeah, it's not brilliant, but, you know, you could have kept it quite easily. But you want to do something nice, obviously.
It is, yeah. Straighten it all up, make it really, really nice. I think, in fairness, I've set a reasonable budget. I mean, the plan is to spend 50k on it.
OK.
So, you know, it needs a fair bit of TLC.
Yeah.
But we've set aside, that's what we'll look to spend.
How long is it going to take? You've got the extension to do, you've got lots of bits and bobs to do, you've got to build a new dorm at the back. What's your timescale on this?
It's going to be at least 4 months.
Yes.
It is going to be at least 4 months.
You say at least 4 months like it's a long time. I think that's quite a short turnaround for what you want to do.
Potentially, but that's where I set my target. So, you know, if I don't set myself a target, then it will just meander along. So we'll set 4 months, and if it gets to 5, I'll still be happy.
Well, Rob, listen, good luck. Hope it all works out. Great idea with the extension, by the way. And I hope you make a few quid.
So do I, Dion, indeed, mate. But thanks very much.
Even though Rob paid nearly 10 times over the guide price, he's still confident he can turn this place around and make a profit in the process. Rob, I wish you all the best, sir. We'll be back in 5 months, maybe 6, and you can find out how Rob gets on later in the programme. Earlier in the show, we saw how one property concluded, but we've still got 2 more to show you.
Yes, how did they get on? Did it all go to plan, or were they left chasing their tails?
Let's have a look. Back now to Ashford in Kent, and this untouched piece of land that had a guide price of £80,000 to £85,000, bringing with it a few issues.
Got quite a lot of trees on the site, and a bit of investigation has shown that some of them have got tree preservation orders, so you wouldn't be able to necessarily chop them down as you might want to.
There was a lot to like about the area, and it was great it came with planning permission.
What we don't like is this road. There's a bend that way, there's a bend that way, and cars seem to just accelerate and decelerate down this straight. that creates a lot of noise. Now, there are things you can do. You could put in an acoustic fence, which would certainly help. You could potentially double or triple glaze the property. But even so, it could be something which would put a potential buyer off.
It was Nadine who wasn't put off. She paid almost double, £165,000 to be precise, for a lot of brambles and that planning permission, although she'd made a few changes to the original plans.
I've actually modified them slightly. So we've put in some larger doors at the back. We've added a room. So originally it had sort of 3-4 bedrooms, but I've actually added a smaller study on the plans and made that a 4th bedroom.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's now going to be a 4-bed, 3-bath.
A long 4 years later, we are back to see how she's got on.
I am the rain, he is the sun. And now we've made a rainbow. I think it's beautiful.
With 1/4 of an acre of brambles cleared and protected trees protected, Nadine has created a beautiful 5-bed, 4-bathroom detached house. The raft foundations are slightly different to accommodate the protected trees on the plot, so as not to damage any roots or growth. But it's inside where the wow factor really kicks in.
We've actually got 7-metre high vaulted ceilings, which whenever anyone walks in, they always kind of say, oh, wow, you know, that's a really grand entrance. So we just wanted to open it out and make it feel really light and spacious and contemporary.
Downstairs has 2 bedrooms, a shower room, a huge kitchen diner, leading through to the lounge, which runs the full length of the house. White walls throughout and high-spec fixtures and fittings, along with Italian porcelain tiles, makes this area shine.
We added an additional bifold door into the lounge, so you can open up the whole of the back of the house, have friends over or whatever. You know, it just creates a really great entertaining space, really, for friends and family.
Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms and a further guest bathroom. 2 of the upstairs bedrooms boast 4-metre vaulted ceilings and walk-through dressing rooms with en-suites. All with Bluetooth demisting mirrors and high-end digital showers. Luxury contemporary carpets underfoot. Spot and feature lighting add a special touch. What are Nadine's plans for the house, though, now the work is done?
The plan was to actually put it on the market and sell it, and we've actually done that. So we recently had a full asking price offer for the property, and that sale actually completes in the next week.
This is an immense project for anyone to take on, never mind this being Nadine's first foray into property development. So, who helped to achieve this luxury home?
I had quite a large role in design. I've worked with a lot of designers and basically created the floor prints that I wanted, took it to an architect, and then he basically created that in CAD. I found an engineer and I found tradesmen to build the property. We did have quite a few problems with tradesmen, and I would say that was probably one of the most difficult points about the build. Actually, tradesmen sort of turning up on time or turning up at all. So that was the trickiest part.
But what would she say is the biggest lesson she can take away from this project?
I've learned that you need a lot more lead time with things like utility providers, and that you should always probably have a contingency when looking out for tradespeople. You should always have a couple of tradespeople in your back pocket, just in case people do let you down.
Time now for a local estate agent to give us his opinion.
It's a really good sized family home. The downstairs space that's on offer certainly fits in with the fact that there's 5 bedrooms. The driveway's a really good size, so for a family with lots of cars, there's plenty of space to park. The garden's also a very good size for certainly a family with children. It's really good for that. But I think mostly the layout of the property itself, the size of the rooms, and the fact that you've got the flexibility of the bedrooms downstairs is what's going to appeal here.
It's easy to see what buyers will be attracted to, but what sales figures does he think Nadine could expect?
I would expect this property to achieve a valuation in the region of £700,000 to £725,000.
And if she were to put it on the rental market?
There's a huge demand for rental properties in the area, so I feel that this property would achieve something in the region of £2,500 per calendar month.
Nadine isn't aware of the final spend as it's still being worked out, but she has managed to sell the house for over £700,000. Hopefully, there's been some profit in that for her, as well as providing someone with a beautiful family home. So, has this project put her off, or has she got the property bug?
In terms of property, we'll be developing this next site, which is a farm with 18 acres and planning for 3 barn conversions. So we'll be hopefully commencing that next month.
And now back to Kings Heath in Birmingham, where I visited a house with a surprisingly low guide price. Here we are, terrace house, 3 beds, had a guide price of, wait for it, 25 grand when it went to auction. 25 grand!
You're unbelievable.
But there were a few unwanted surprises on the inside. Water damage had reared its ugly head thanks to a poorly installed dormer window. Not great at all. The floorboards are just starting to rot. Normally, you'd build it like that so the water falls away. On this occasion, they built it like that. Purchasing the property for, wait for it, 242 grand, almost 10 times the guide price, was Rob, who was ready to right all the wrongs of the past.
We will rebuild the dormer.
OK, will you do me a favour?
Yeah.
Will you try and make it fall away from the house? I want the water away from the house, please.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Rob planned for the work to take up to 5 months. Well, it's been over a year and we are back to see how Rob has got on. Is that even the same house? It's had pretty much everything done to it. New windows, doors, rendering, new paint, and most importantly, a new dormer window. And it's also gained a new monoblock driveway. And inside, the massive transformation continues. It's had a complete replaster, repaint, new floors, walls and windows. There isn't an inch of this house that hasn't been revamped and revitalised. In the second reception room, some space has been pinched to reconfigure the stairs to create a new handy downstairs WC. That reception room wasn't left wanting for long, as it's now been added to the new kitchen, creating a stunning open-plan kitchen, living and dining area with a family room to the rear where the bathroom once was. This is all within the new extension, as Rob has had the old one torn down and replaced with this much more sound and savvy space. The first floor now contains an inviting new double bedroom, and is also home to the family bathroom, which houses the new boiler. And on the top floor, a new bedroom has been built with a non-drip dormer window with views over the back garden, so the property still remains a 3-bed. And the former bedroom is now as dry as a bone, as a new window has been installed. The back garden has been tidied up and levelled and boasts a healthy green lawn. So let's hear from Rob how 5 months turned into a year.
There's been so much going on in the industry lately, and the availability of skilled craftsmen was a long waiting list, and they were going, Rob, I can't get here for another 3 months. So we ended up doing a lot more ourselves than we originally intended to. That's probably why it extended the period of time that it took to do the refurb as well. But all the major work, the re-roofing, the external structures, the electrics and the central heating, all that was done by skilled tradespeople that we know and brought in to do the job. And we've worked with them before and they've done a good job.
And how did he get on with that 50 grand budget?
The target was 50,000, and we've just been checking this week, and we've actually spent 58,400.
58 grand is really not that bad considering the high spec finish. How has he managed to achieve that?
I think that's because we did a lot of the work ourselves.
So how does he feel about the project now it's completed?
This is what I had in my mind's eye right from the off, and yeah, I'm very happy with it, very happy with it, and I hope that whoever lives here will also be very happy.
Someone else I bet Rob is hoping will be happy with it is a local estate agent. We've invited one along to find out what they make of the property and how it's finished.
First impressions, it's amazing. I've saw the photos prior to the works being done, and it's a complete transformation. I think he's nailed it, and especially for this sort of area as well, it's very trendy.
Who does he think this would appeal to?
This sort of property will appeal to any young family looking to move into the area. You're opposite a park, Kings Heath Park, and there's lots of local coffee shops on the high street and great transport links.
So the burning question, what figures would he put on this house on the sales and rentals market?
If the vendor was to place this property on the open market, it could be in the range of £425,000. However, because there's such a buoyant market at the moment and supply and demand is there, you could push it to £450,000. If the vendor was to consider letting the property, you could expect to achieve £1,400 per calendar month.
With Rob having spent $242 on the purchase of the property and a further 58 grand on the work, the sales figure of 450 grand would mean a pre-tax profit of £150,000. Rob, what do you make of that?
I'm pleased with that. That's a bit more than we anticipated, to be honest. So if it went anywhere near that, we'd be really happy. Yeah, that's good. Brought a smile to my face.
And that £1,400 rental value would mean an annual yield of around 5.6%. Are you still smiling, Rob?
Again, that's a couple of £100 more than I thought I might have got. I haven't looked at letting at it in the same level of detail, but certainly that would be really good, yeah.
Have these figures influenced his future plans for the property?
I think we'll stick with the original intention of selling it, and we'd only resort to renting it out if it doesn't sell within a short period of time.
So will Rob be dashing back to the property auctions anytime soon?
Yeah, a little break and maybe look around again next year. But it's also about finding the right properties to do the refurb on. And I've looked at auctions locally here in the Midlands and in London. And yeah, it's finding the right property and the right opportunity.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're a first-timer or an experienced property developer. There are always bargains to be found at the auctions.
Yes, we like being at the start of the journey where we see it go from derelict to desirable.
And we hope you've learnt a few hints and tips by watching us. So join us again for more Homes Under the Hammer next time.
Goodbye.